What's up, everyone? I'm Duncan, and welcome to more Gen 8 leaks and stuff. I'm joined today by PokeaimMD, because he brought this leak to me.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, PokeaimMD here. Happy to be here.
And this leak, it's got some legs, all right? So I'm going to explain why it's got legs, then I'm going to explain why it can still be doubted, and try and remember everything. So the first things first is this was posted 6 or 7 days before the reveal, and it had the name in it, which is Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the region, which was the British region. And that is impressive, but it's important to note that I have known the region myself since September last year, and I can prove that. Go ask Ace Trainer Liam if I was giggling in a bar with somebody else who also knew the region, and we wouldn't tell him. So that's a fun time. And then the other thing is that I could, and this is a weird one, I could have known the name of the games back in January if I'd understood what the person who leaks this information to me was saying, because the person who leaks to me is a bit of a troll. They're a bit cryptic. They like to mess with my head. And at one point, I don't know where, they messaged me and they're like, hey dude, you know, I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter and my favorite weapon is this. And it was just a picture of the Sword and Shield icon from Monster Hunter. Out of nowhere, they messaged me this. And that's got me thinking I need to probably pay attention to everything they say to me and go back and score through all the messages I have with this person, because how did I miss that one? Feel stupid for that. Can you imagine if I'd put Sword and Shield Joey in that video?
Oh my god, dude, everybody would have been so hyped. Bro, I'm just trying to imagine how you actually replied to that person. You're probably like, oh, okay, that's nice.
I was like, yeah, I was like, my favorite's the gun lance. That's my reply. It's like, they must have been like, God damn it, Duncan. How dumb are you? The other thing is that often people get information like this, so that if the title was leaked to me, I'm not a special snowflake. Somebody else got it leaked to them as well, right? These leaks happen all over this industry. It's all over this industry, at parties, all kinds of stuff. Leaks happen all the time. So if someone leaked this to me, that means somebody probably leaked this to other people. And something that's really well known in this industry is that if you're going to leak something on 4chan or something like that, often people will troll and they'll mix real information that they have been leaked with absolute nonsense. So that's why this can be doubted. And I think that Joey brought up a really good point in his video, which will be linked down below. It's like a 51-minute long discussion, but it's really, really interesting about Gen 8. You were talking about the icons, right?
Yes. So again, I talked about in my video that in X and Y, the icons and Ultra Sun and Moon, the icons started matching, you know, what the legendary, the cover legendary would be.
Yeah.
So X and Y, Xerneas and a Veltal, they're literally, the X is Xerneas, the Y is literally a Veltal stance, and then Ultra Sun and Moon.
Even black and white, right?
Yep.
And then Diamond and Pearl. It's been a long time since they haven't done that, actually. So it would be a big twist if the dog heads didn't mean something to do with the legendary
Pokemon. And here they're saying on this leak, the Metal Snake and Wooden Horse. Which
doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit that, but as we were talking about it, and even though we're re-recording now, right? I'm like, I'm thinking the thing I was talking about before, like how the insignia could have been like maybe like a metal snake on because if we go to like Great Britain and they're talking about armored Pokemon and all this.
Oh yeah, okay. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll jump to that in a second. But here's another leak that also mentions Sword and Shield, and that was in April of 2018.
Yes.
And the name will have been decided back then. The name has probably been set in stone for 1.5 years, 2 years. So April 2018, another leak saying Sword and Shield, but they put a lot of nonsense in here that just isn't accurate. They're saying there's no gym badges, which has been confirmed. We're getting gym badges, all kinds of stuff. So that is, it's proven that people do like to throw in fake information with real information because it's funny, right? Like, these people are trolling. If you're leaking on 4chan, you're a troll. You're doing it to troll. You're not doing it because you've got people's best interests in mind. But this leak then goes on to talk about armored forms of Pokemon. And something that my leaker sent to me was, I'm gonna paraphrase it because I don't want to give exact text, but they were like, hey Duncan, did you like Alolan forms? Why yes, leaker, I did like Alolan forms. They were pretty cool. Yeah, you know what else is cool? I don't know what else is cool. The stuff in Gen 8, the Pokemon in Gen 8 are pretty cool, and cool sort of highlighted. And I'm like, okay, so we're getting forms. We're getting, and we spoke about this in the video with Callum. I've leaked this already. We're getting new forms kind of thing in this region. So I was thinking it would be like regional forms like Alolan Pokemon. And then a couple of days later, with no other conversation, they sent me, you know what else is pretty cool? British mythology with King Arthur and knights and all of that stuff. That's pretty cool. Now, so I didn't make the link.
Screaming at you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Joey, look, I didn't make the link. I thought that meant there were going to be like Armored Knight legendaries or something, and that's why in the video with Callum, I talk about maybe a legendary trio of Armored Knights or something like that. If the leaker had been talking to Joey, he'd have probably put this together. We've got this leaker talking about armored forms of Pokemon. And this is something you went into in quite a lot of detail, Joey. So I'm going to let you take that away.
So in my video originally, before I got this information from Duncan, I talked about Armored Evolution as their new thing for the generation, right? We've had Megas, we've had Z-moves, we have Ultra Bursting. So I thought Armored Evolution was, okay, Pokemon from the past, and they actually named a few Pokemon: Armored Charizard, Armored Mewtwo, Armored Flygon, Armored Zeraora. They have the ability to, with some type of armor, or some type of item, whatever, they can armor burst, or whatever we're going to call it. We're going to call it that for now, armor burst, and they become this new
during
form.
battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a during battle transformation, less a Alolan form and more Mega Pokemon.
But what you said, your information, and by what your leaker, I'm leaning now more towards, okay, Armored Evolution might have been just a cover for, you know, a Galarian region or a Galar form type of thing, right? Where they're just different forms of old Pokemon.
This isn't like, by the way, when I knew where the region was based. This is all very, like, cryptic clues that people have left, combined with a leak that we're not confirmed and we're not sure is real. But it does seem like we might get armor forms as almost like... And we were talking earlier about how maybe it was like Melmetal, because they speak later in the leak about how Melmetal has something to do with it. Maybe it's like a fusion, like with Kyurem and Reshiram or Zekrom, and Melmetal fuses with them and makes either a sword or shield form, because that was another leak talking about sword and shield forms. It really could just be as simple as that. Like, you have different forms of Pokemon. You can see them in Team Preview. That's what I want. I don't want any more Megas or Z-moves or surprises. I just want to see the Pokemon in Team Preview. and
it makes sense too, because the lore behind Melton is that it uses liquid arms and legs to corrode metal and absorb it into its own body, using the metal absorbs from like outside sources. So those outside sources could just be the Pokemon it's like going over, right? Like Melton could be doing this type of thing. It's a really mischievous Pokemon, and it's really like interesting. So it like the lore behind it makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
But
the fact that Melmetal was the one they chose to reveal as well is really telling.
The fact that Melmetal was exactly, and Melmetal again in Let's Go, when Melmetal dies, when it faints, it literally liquefies, right? It literally liquefies, and that type of thing could easily, like, you know, cover something. So maybe we were talking about story potentially where the bad guys might try and control Melmetal, and Melmetal ends up like, covering over, you know, a bunch of Pokemon.
Making armored Pokemon. And maybe you don't catch them in armor form. Maybe you catch them as regular Pokemon. You're like, I've got my Blaziken, I'm going to turn him into Sword Chicken. And then he's just the sword form of Blaziken.
Yep.
You were also talking about speeds, which I think was really interesting.
Yes. So in Armored Evolution, like, again, we're going back and forth because we said, okay, this might just mean these are different forms. And now we're talking about potentially if it is Armored Evolution.
Well, no, because even then, if it's a different form, it could change the stats.
Yeah,
right. If it's a sword form or shield form, it could still change the stats.
Yeah, it's true. So one of the leaks talked about sword and shield form. So obviously the games are called Sword and Shield. So maybe when whatever happens, that Armor Evolution happens, the Pokemon that sword form gets, you know, slightly higher attack, and possibly or significant increase in attack, and possibly maybe some speed. Because again, there are certain types of armor that do speed you up.
In RPGs, all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Exactly. And then the shield forms would be ridiculously defensive, right? They'd be very, very defensive. They can tank it.
Do you think it would add steel typing?
Okay, so that's something I was talking about in my video too, right? Adding like a third typing to something. I think that would be pretty cool, but I think it'd be broken in a sense too. I feel like they wouldn't mess it up.
Steel's such a good typing, right? As well.
It is.
So adding steel typing to a bunch of these mons, like Charizard with fire flying steel, is a really good typing.
Yeah, or they might even get rid of, because like the Pokemon here, I just noticed it. Charizard, Mewtwo, and Flygon. Well, Flygon and Charizard respectively. Charizard's a flyer. Flygon has levitate. Yeah. It might get rid of like that secondary
their ability to fly.
And their ability, exactly. Again, this is just speculation based on.
Yeah, it's all wild speculation based on a couple of rumors, a leak that is completely unverifiable, and the fact that somebody said to me that knights were cool. So this is, it's pretty loose, and we're not saying that this isn't like I'm betting $500 that this is true. It's not like it was. with the region reveal. This isn't guaranteed. It's just really cool stuff. And even if sword form slows you down, that gives trick room possibilities. And you were saying that they balance the game for VGC, and you're right. They don't give any care. They don't care about singles at all. They just don't care. They balance the game for VGC. They balance the game for doubles. So it could be like, oh, you running the sword and shield forms for trick room, or there's a mon that makes trick room when it comes in. Please mon that makes trick room when it comes in. All kinds of cool stuff that they could do. And I think it's really important to keep like our conspiracy hats on and be like, this might not be true, so we're going to be very cautious and sort of not overreach and say this is definitely confirmed, this leak is 100%, because there are things wrong with it. Like the snake and horse, we were talking about the Knights of the Round Table though, it could be insignia, you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like how on the sword and shield logos it has the wolves, so that could just be an insignia on the Pokemon itself. Like this thing was saying there's a metal snake, so it could be actually a snake with on its sword there's like, or the snake has like the head of a wolf, or like the sword the hilt of it might be wolf-like or whatever when it attacks. I don't know. Same thing with the wooden horse.
Definitely, they could be like inscribed with that. That could be the insignia of the kingdom, for all we know. That could be the Galar Kingdom's insignia is a wolf.
And you know what? It makes sense too, because the way when Melton was first released, it was found kind of like on a, like literally inscribed in a wall, right? Like there was like what was it? There was like something. There was like a scroll or like something where it was actually like etched in there. So something like that could be pretty cool. I'm not against new forms. I think the forms are the coolest thing we've brought to Pokemon in a long time because they make sense, right? Regionally, they make sense. Animals are always adapting to where they live, right?
As a geneticist, it made me very, very, very happy. It made so much sense of like Pokemon evolution is more like transformation. It's more like metamorphosis, and it's just I choose to like break them apart in my head as Pokemon evolution in the game when they're like, this Pokemon's evolving. What they really mean is it's metamorphizing, it's changing form. And I just choose to believe that in that world, they call that evolution. But real evolution is what Alolan forms are. Pokemon have adapted to fit their niche, right? A new environment, new environmental pressure, they've adapted. And I think that was really, really cool.
It's so good too, because personally, me speaking, guys, I don't want any more. I don't think we need anything more to break the game, right? I don't want Z moves anymore. I'm okay. I'd be okay without megas as well. Just me personally speaking, because I think they do make competitive a lot harder. And some Pokemon like just have no business beating other Pokemon. I think
they make it a lot less interesting as well, because they're very build around. Like megas and Z moves and all of that are very like build around. You build the team to do this thing. Like you see a lot of teams that are built like you get rid of the threats to this mega, then you set it up and then you win, or you get rid of the threats and then you Como Z move and get +1 everything and win. And it's like
I would be fine. I'd be fine with it being gone. I would love new forms. This type of thing. Just like I think new forms are amazing, especially because. Like in the trailer at first, I was a little bit disappointed because they showed, Pokemon Hoot, Munchlax. I'm like, guys, come on. I was excited about Munchlax when I saw an XD Gale of Darkness right before it came out. That's when I was excited about Munchlax. Like, don't show me Hoot. I have Hoot in my Pokemon Gold. Like at night, I know I can catch it there. Show me different forms. I'm like, this guy said Armored Flygon. We saw Flygon in there too. So I don't know.
I do want to see some new Pokemon as well. Like,
I'm tired of catching Pikachu in the grass.
Just random little things. I do want to see some new Pokemon.
And if Armored Evolution is a thing, right? It'd be cool.
Yeah. So if Armored Evolution is a thing and it's like Mega Evolution, fine, we'll deal with it. But then we've got a Mega, a Z move, and an Armored Evolution on every team.
All on one team.
But if it's a form, which I can see in Team Preview, and it's fun, and they've got different stats, and they work differently, maybe even a different typing, maybe not, I think that for me is better.
Great.
I think that would be my preference.
First off, it lets me know what the hell they have, right? I don't see Charizard on Team Preview, and I have to think about, okay, is this Zard XY? Is this Armored Zard? Is it Z-Zard? Like, what is this?
Yeah, fun times. Z Celebrate Zard? That's a thing I got hit with. I did not expect. But yeah, so I think it's a really interesting concept. I'd love to see what you guys think down below. We're going to link all the different threads and all of that in the description down below. And of course, Joey's massive 51-minute discussion, because I think it was really interesting. I watched it all the way to the end, which means I definitely think you guys should watch it all the way to the end.
Boy.
They had a lot to say, and there was a lot of like speculation on what you'd like to see in the game, which I think is really, really interesting. At this stage in the hype, when we've had one trailer and no new mons, I think that is one of the most interesting things to discuss. I don't want to throw out 15 videos going over the same 2 minutes of footage. I want to sort of be like...
I want to build on what we know and try and make it, you know, like give us a picture of what we're going to see, right? Guess. This is like the most fun time in the Pokemon community, especially if a lot of people hate the game too, which is the case for some games. A lot of this is like, I always love the hype building up to it. Agreed.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Remember to check out PokeaimMD down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.